Hello, people of YouTube.
Hello.
I am American McGee.
I'm Martin.
And we are coming to you from beyond the Great Firewall. It is uncertain whether today's broadcast will be bothered by the internet gremlins, but right now we're showing all green on the OBS dashboard here.
Now it's green.
Now it's green.
It was a little red no more than 30 seconds ago, but we'll see.
Red as in communist red. So anyway, we are back. I was off for a week. My family was visiting Shanghai, and they got to see the wonders of modern-day China, which was the video you saw at the beginning there was actually not modern-day China. That was an ancient Chinese water town. You know that water town has history that dates back 4,000 years.
What?
What? And it goes back to the Qing dynasty, which is over hundreds, like maybe 1,000 years ago.
I do like a nice water town. I've not been to one in a while.
That place was beautiful, I have to say. Of all the water towns we've ever been to, that was definitely the top-ranked, most beautiful, most well not only maintained, but they've fixed it up. You know, they've brought it up to modern standards, and they've also cleaned up. Like, you don't have the aggressive hawkers out there saying, "Come eat here or else."
Doesn't that ruin it somewhat if everything's been cleaned and it's not full of people trying to grab your attention?
I didn't feel like it was ruined. No, I thought it was pretty good. Anyway,
Okay.
So I'm back. My parents jumped on an airplane flying back to the U.S. yesterday, and so here we are.
Should have arrived by now.
They should have. This is true. So we are back. We do have prizes. Tell the people what they're going to win today, Martin.
Well, they're going to win one of them. It's a Rutledge dog tag doodah, which was our latest Patreon goal.
It was, and they're all done being manufactured now.
Yeah.
And we've manufactured how many of them?
2,250.
And they are actually numbered 1 through 2,250. Is that correct?
You'd hope.
Well, I've seen the pictures. Actually, we just got photo evidence of their existence and their numbering. And there you go.
Zoom in.
I'm zooming in.
Enhance.
2228, 2235, 2227.
All right. They are indeed individually numbered.
They are. And so a large number of these have been manufactured, and they've been put in little plastic baggies, and they're going to where we're going to ship them from. And there's whole boxes of them. Look at that. Madness. Oops, that's not a tag. That's Alice's sister and mom. Anyway, so this is what we'll be giving away for today's prize. We'll do that 4 times today, each time at the half-hour mark.
Every half hour.
And what else are we doing today?
What else indeed? It's been a while. Forgot what we do. What do we do?
We do art review.
We do some art.
Yeah.
We do some chat.
There you go.
We give a shout out to Freaky Fandoms at some point.
This is true.
We're going to go through questions that we got on Patreon.
Yeah.
We're just going to have a jolly old time.
But for those of you who maybe have never joined us before, this is a weekly, or we try to be weekly, broadcast where we go over all the progress being made on Alice Asylum. What is Alice Asylum, you ask?
Alice Asylum would be the 3rd installment in the Alice series, although it is a prequel. So the story is before American McGee's Alice. Currently in the pre-production phase. We're doing lots of behind-the-scenes tinkering and emailing of various parties that we can't talk about. It's all it's all going along quite swimmingly, and
Yeah.
we're hoping, fingers crossed and touching wood and all that, this is going to be out on all major platforms by 2021, 2022.
Something like
Fingers
that.
crossed.
Yeah. That is a question we get very often. Is it going to be on some platform? The answer is yes. We're going to try to target PC, PlayStation, Xbox. We'll definitely aim for whichever platform has the largest functional install base. So, for instance, I would imagine that which incarnation of PlayStation at that point is going to have the largest number of installs in the market?
I assume even if it's 2 or 3 years from now, 4 will still be on the cards.
Exactly. So we're likely going to target the PlayStation 4. But then we do get people asking, are we going to be on the Xbox 360?
No.
That seems like a long time ago. Maybe not on that. But we are in pre-production, and that's part of what we do during these weekly live streams is we go over, as you can see here, the content contained on the Asylum wiki that breaks down community ideas, it breaks down the story, the characters, various elements of the gameplay, the levels we're going to visit, all of these things going towards what will eventually be a design Bible. And of course, we are including you, the fans, in that process through something we like to call crowd design. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do. And of course, another part of that is Super Chats.
Super Chat. Tom Resnick gets first chat of the day. Congratulations. And thank you for the Super Chat. As long as you don't go mobile exclusive. What? Don't you have phones?
Yeah, I don't see this being...
That was funny.
Yeah, I don't... Was that something recent? That was the Blizzard?
That was the Diablo.
Yeah, the Diablo fiasco.
Yeah. Hi, all you PC gamers who've supported us on PC for decades. Here's a phone game.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're not going to probably be building a phone version of this. Though Alice Madness Returns had what you call a support app, which is essentially just a marketing vehicle. That was a little side, I think it was an art gallery or something like that. But it wasn't a game, and it wasn't meant to be played. It was simply meant to support the launch of the primary game. So, yeah, Tom, thank you for the Super Chat. There will not be a phone version of Alice Asylum. Unless by the time we release the game, you've got like a quantum computer in your pocket. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? We'll see. But let us jump right into it, because there's quite a bit of art to catch up on in the time since I took off to do my tour guide job here in China. First up, this is a new image from Omri.
Look at it.
It's pretty cool.
Just look at it.
It's called Perfectly Unbalanced. And of course,
that's going to upset Thanos.
Yes. And it features Alice in her 2 incarnations that we will see featured in Alice Asylum, and that is Shadow Alice. She is, of course, the dark, scary, face-stitched on, black-lipped one. And then I guess you'd call her regular Alice.
Anytime you say regular.
I know. Rick and Morty references. So regular legs Alice, and then baby legs Alice.
Dark Alice.
Dark Alice. And so, yeah, this is Omri's latest illustration, which these things go to help support the pre-production work we're doing on Asylum, because, of course, this will be offered as the art print for what month? This month?
Shall we do it for the next one?
Mm-hmm.
And as always, confusingly with Patreon, we call it this month, but it means people who are charged at the beginning of July. So
you confuse even me.
It's not that confusing.
I mean, it really is. If they were pledged right now, would they get it?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway.
So they are technically June patrons.
Oh boy. Anyway, this will be an art print you can get by being a patron. But yeah, this basically illustrates the schism that exists between Alice in her personality, the shadow self, and her, I guess, normal self, regular self. Don't laugh, Martin. But we were actually having quite a bit of a discussion around this topic during this week's crowd design session, which we did on Tuesday of this week, and we do that via Discord. and we had our insane children come and join us, and they were asking questions related to the story and how we're going to present this narrative. And I wanted to point out that one of the things that comes out of those kinds of discussions that I think is really important was one of our insane children. He's actually in the chat, Greg, who is Octo Chicken on Discord. You know, he jumped on and he asked questions about, and he also presented some ideas that he'd come up with related to the narrative. So he asked questions about how we were trying to present the split between the shadow self and the normal self, and how that would then be played out in the game. And maybe perhaps he suggested we might play as Shadow Alice as opposed to young Alice. Anyway, I wanted to say that the questions, I had this sense afterwards that sometimes good questions are better than good ideas. In other words, a good question can force us to explain what it is that we're trying to accomplish with our ideas, whereas just presenting an idea as a standalone thing, it's very easy to poke holes in an idea, but it's very difficult to not answer a question. Does that make sense?
It's easy to poke holes, but difficult to not answer questions.
Correct. So ideas sort of stand there wanting to be knocked down, to be challenged, and that's fine. But questions force us to look at the reason why we think we have a particular idea. What is the goal of the thing the story we're trying to tell, for instance? Anyway, Greg's questions I found to be really helpful because it made me see places where more detail, I think, ought to go into the story we're trying to tell. And ultimately, I think that story is one of the importance of integrating the shadow. In psychology, the idea that there's a kind of darkness that resides within us, and oftentimes people go through life pushing down or resisting their own darkness, and that leads to cognitive dissonance. It leads to, the lack of integration leads to imbalance. It leads to sickness, mental illness even. And so I think a lot of times people need to learn to embrace their stitchy-faced, black-lipped selves, and that would lead to them being healthier people in general. So, yeah.
Okay. It is... I mean, we're still going along with the story. We've got the broad strokes, haven't we? We know there's going to be like a Chaos Alice, and we know it's about going to be integration. But yeah, during the Discord chats, like you say, sometimes someone will come up with a question, and you'll go like, oh yeah, good point.
Yeah.
And you sort of like, you need to chip away at it and just smooth it out.
Yeah.
It's a good process.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yay.
And then
yay for us and all you out there as well.
Yes. Then during that same live chat, the crowd design session, we also found that Connor Carbon, one of our insane children, one of our patrons, has a very sultry, very listenable voice. I think we all just felt like really relaxed and happy about being there, and I think we could have all just kept the session going. In fact, when we were wrapping up the session, everybody was saying no, and I don't think it was for the content of the session. I think they were all just being mesmerized by Connor's voice.
Let's have a good voice.
We're gonna have to make sure he comes back and joins in on these sessions in the future. All right, so along with Shadow Alice, we're also getting some concepts. These are related to the shock stage of Alice Asylum. So if you have been following along in our work on the design, you'll know that the story is broken into some distinct stages, and that those stages are based on the stages of, you could say the stages of grief, but it could also be the stages of PTSD. There's a lot of ways you look at this. Stages of depression, sometimes referred to as the stages of recovery once you've faced a trauma. But in any case, we're using these as the large sort of overarching chunks that define the trajectory, the path of our narrative. And at the start, we're going to find Alice and her family existing peacefully in a stage we'll refer to as slumber. That is the stage that we all kind of exist in. You may recognize it as that state you're in when you go on autopilot from home to your office in your car and you have no idea how you got there. Now, shock would be the thing that happens if, say, on that same journey, you were run into by an out-of-control semi-truck. So shock is the stage at which Alice finds herself after the house burns down, and that's where we're going to have characters like this begin to appear. Had you seen this one yet?
I have seen it. I'm going to say for this, firstly, I like Alex's art and designs and stuff. I have no criticisms with that. However, I do feel this might be edging slightly more towards like a horror gore type of design rather than a sort of a quirky, creepy type of design. I don't know how people feel about a giant bloody mouth on her midriff. Is it too horror?
So this is a good question. It's one that actually came up in some conversations I've had recently with Omri, and it may be why we're seeing some of the designs go in a distinctly darker direction. So this is something that I think we're going to have to decide as a crowd, as a group, and that is, will this game be darker than Alice Madness Returns? And I think with the conversation I'm having with Omri, the answer is yes. We'd like to maybe dial down the whimsical, because there was quite a bit of very colorful, whimsical stuff going on in Madness Returns, and dial up the horror. But the degree to which we do this, we're not saying dial the horror to 11. At the same time, I do think there is room for a bit more creepy stuff. I think also it fits. This isn't just an arbitrary decision to say, hey, let's crank up the horror. You need to remember that in Madness Returns, Alice is quite well kind of adapted. She's very much in control and command of her powers, and she's come to kind of expect what kind of tricks her mind might play. But in Asylum, she's just a little 13-year-old girl. The things that have happened to her are truly horrific. She's lost her family. She's heard the dying screams of them as they've burned up. She may be witness to, at least subconsciously, the cycle of abuse that's been put upon her sister by the Bumby character. So, to suggest that her mind might manifest shock in an awful way like this, I think is appropriate.
Okay, so there is kind of precedent story-wise. In the chat, it seems to be about 50-50-ish. Some people saying it's fine, go darker. Some people saying it's a little much. Hard to say if there's an overarching consensus.
Yeah, why don't we, we'll go down this road a little bit. One of the reasons why we're doing this publicly, look, you're getting to see firsthand, before anyone else, the direction some of this is going, and you're getting to comment on it here and over on Patreon. We post this stuff up on Instagram and on Facebook, so you've got plenty of avenues to voice your concerns or your thoughts. Share those things. We'll take that input in. We're trying to make this where it's being driven by what you, the fans, would like to see. That also combined with, like, if you said, hey, we want to have more Mad Max, petrol wars racing across deserts, and that probably isn't going to fit. But again, I think that us showing the terror that this little girl is going through psychologically and having it represented, look, to me, this makes a lot of sense. I really like, so I don't know if this has come across in the text, if you guys have seen this, but the idea here is we have young Alice in this stage, the shock stage. She's actually going to be primarily in stealth in this area of the game, meaning that she won't have weapons. She won't be able to really fight against these guys. So the goal would be mainly to avoid waking them up. So when she first sees them, they'll be in this slumber, idle state.
Okay.
And then if she triggers them, and that's a really important word I'll come back to in a second, but if she triggers them, then they transform into these sort of lumbering zombie things. Now, I think probably what we'll do is make them so it's difficult for these guys to catch up with them, with Alice. At least a single one of them might just slowly stalk around behind you and then finally go back to sleep. Now, of course, if you run into a room and wake up dozens of them at the same time, oops, that's not good. Very, very, zombie-like, right? Mm-hmm. But the concept here is that they are triggered, And again, that goes back to the PTSD theme in that, when you've gone through trauma, you do have these triggers related to the event. It could be a smell, a sound, a word, that if you get too close to it inside of your mind, or if something on the outside of your mind gets too close to it, it'll remind you, it'll start to cascade, it'll snowball, and you'll go from this sort of like gently rocking to sort of faster rocking. And then, you've explained this before. I mean, you also have, as many of us do, moments where you're feeling of uncomfortable feeling, you start to worry that that's going to snowball into something more.
Yeah, there's definitely there's a moment, like if you've had anxiety before, like I have, and you've had like panic attacks, it's a very definite moment where you think you can cope, and you suddenly have a thought that pushes you over the head, and you think, right, that's it, I'm done.
Yep.
And you just have to ride it out.
That's right. So these characters, I would hope, would take our experience, the experience of the fans that have gone through this kind of thing, and encapsulate them in an enemy. Sea anemone? No, in an enemy design. I got it out. Yay. All right.
Didn't actually get it out.
Let's not do that on camera. We have 2 super chats.
There's one. Was there one before that? I don't know.
No.
Truth Decay super chats. More gore. Marketing demands it. They probably do, actually, in this day and age.
Well, for Alice Madness Returns, the marketing department did demand more gore, more horror. They wanted Alice to be more unhinged, as in they wanted her to be a psychopath. They actually asked for that. They wanted her to be deranged. And I said that that's not who she is, and we weren't going to go that direction for that reason. In this game, we have a reason to have a bit more horror, for sure. So
okay.
That may be Truth Decay's reference there.
Maybe. And Aletha Gray, super chats, thank you. Just to say, go darker. They agree. Go dark. Go nasty.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. A couple more super chats piling in here.
Big one, but we'll go with Ava Marie. Ava Marie Ricks sends us some knock. Thank you for the knock, whatever knock is. More horror would make sense with this game's theme. We're seeing all of this through a creative child's mind, and the game has darker themes than Madness Returns, as American was just alluding to.
There you go.
There you go, Ava Marie. You're on the same wavelength as McGee.
Look, this is the fans are voting their way towards a darker game.
Seems like it.
It works.
Truth Decay sends us an epic super chat.
That's a giant super chat.
Thank
you for the epic 200K.
200K. Yes, excellent. Thank you very much. Real talk. Ooh, sounds serious. I honestly feel that Alice could and should go darker. I mean, this would likely be one of the darkest periods in her life, as she is learning to adjust to the change, loss of everything in her life. It's not an easy adjustment to make. Everything she's known and loved is lost.
Well, yeah. So thank you for the giant super chat there, Tooth Decay.
Tooth Decay.
What's wrong with my brain this morning? It's not that I'm saying the wrong. I mean, I'm saying the wrong thing. It's not that I'm making words up, but I'm clearly skewing them in some bizarre direction. Anyway, Truth Decay. Thank you for that. Yes, I think that one of the goals I have is to really properly show just how debilitating, disabling, destructive this kind of encounter with chaos can be. And it can really, it can knock people down. It can kill people to come up against chaos in some form like this. And so for Alice, she's just this little 13-year-old girl. It wouldn't matter really if she was a 35-year-old man to have confronted the entire, the loss of your family in its entirety. You're suddenly made into an orphan. You're thrown into an asylum. How much worse can it get? Maybe if they cut off her legs and taped her to a skateboard, that would really make it.
Shh, don't give away the secret ending.
No, I forgot that we hadn't told them about her actually being on
skateboard legs
with Bart Simpson driving her around the streets of London. We haven't told them about the Simpsons tie-in yet either, have we?
We haven't.
Oh, man. All right. Wait till they hear that her new tagline is "Eat my britches, governor." Anyway, so it is very, very dark, this period. And we're going to be seeing all the darkness through the lens of her eyes. And so we should expect there's going to be a lot more horror. There's going to be a lot more darkness. So
Okay.
there you go. Martin needs a hug, says Wendy. What?
Who's going to give me one?
Who's going to give me a hug? What's going on? Why does Martin get all the love? All right. So we also showed off, I think this already came up last week. We had seen the house before and after. And this is the section of the game that we're working on right now in terms of the story outline. We've been doing some storyboarding and some script writing around where Alice begins and what her family looks like with her dad, Keanu Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
And so he made an appearance this week.
Yeah. It's, so now there is precedent to have Keanu Reeves appear in your game.
Yeah.
So maybe he wants to be Alice's hot dad.
Could be that's the secret reveal we're eventually going to have here. We'll see. But yeah, this work has led us to some actual storyboarding of what could be an opening scene. Now I say what could be because it's not going to be the opening scene, but there's some themes in here that I like. One of the themes is snow and ash. And so these two things I think you're going to see combined together. Throughout the game, we're going to return to the theme of snow and ash. And of course, the game is going to open on that because it's quite important. So we're going to open on Alice's family's home pre-fire, obviously, and in the snow. And we're going to find that the girls, Alice and Lizzie, are outside making a snowman. Oh, very sweet.
It's been a while since I made a snowman.
What does it mean, pale snowman's head? Is that like Indian speak for white man snowman?
Pale snowman's head.
Not sure.
Maybe just, I don't know, because snow is pale.
Is there such thing as a not pale snowman? Like a
yellow snowman? If
dirt
somebody's
man?
been
Yellow,
peeing?
yeah, I've always told as a child never to eat the yellow snow.
It's not lemon flavored.
This is true. So yeah, the girls are outside. They're making a snowman, and I think that Alice gets angry at Lizzie because she's about to jab a stick into the snowman's side. She's got wood in her arms, and then
She says, cool.
yeah, I think that was the word of the day back in Victorian England.
Yeah,
was
we
cool.
were all talking about how cool things were.
She looks distinctly anime-ish. I kind of, I don't know how to make those Japanese girl sounds, but I feel like,
Try.
No. Oh, kawaii. Oh, wait, they don't say kawaii. That's Chinese. They say
kawaii.
Kawaii. Anyway, so yeah, the girls make a snowman.
Right.
Let's, we'll come back
Should
to
we do
that.
this super chat?
We will.
Tia Comstock.
Hello, Tia.
I was worried that was going to be one of those fake names for a minute then. Thank you for the super chat. You could keep the original dark design with all the gore, but give it some fire elements, since that was the cause of the shock. There is certainly going to be plenty of fire.
There is.
In the game, especially around the beginning, I imagine.
But we've also said on a couple of occasions that we don't want to go and do fire all the time because it feels like it would be a bit on the nose. Instead, that's why I'm suggesting that the game start off with the snow and ash motif. And as you saw in the image of the house, instead of being engulfed in your traditional red hot flames, in the state of chaos, we've actually engulfed it in this sort of blue fire. And that is an attempt to kind of capture the sense of numbness that you have when you go into, oh, look, there's her family in the doorway there.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Are they waving?
Writhing, I think, is the word you're looking for, or wriggling.
Okay.
Painfully writhing, maybe not waving.
Why don't they just leave? There's clearly no door there.
Well, you can't. It's a dream. You're just stuck there.
This image, both of these side by side, they kind of remind me a little bit of the game The Evil Within 2. A lot of the horror in that was based around sort of like a white theme, they went like white rather than dark. It's kind of weird. Fantastic game. But yeah, seeing like a broken down building with like white.
Right.
It reminds me of it.
Well,
It's good though.
According to the chat, they didn't really get it, but that, just so you know, that is Keanu Reeves right there.
Okay.
This is the official announcement of Keanu Reeves being in the game. All right. Connor Carbon has come up. Now, this Connor is the one with the sultry voice.
It is.
Yes. I hope that chair doesn't sound like I'm farting. Sorry, Connor. So thank you for the super chat. He asks, have you seen Ellen Johnson art? She wants to art for you. I do believe somebody mentioned this over on Discord, but that's not really the best place. Not the best place in the world to get messages to us. Ellen Johnson. There's a lot of people with that name. Now I'm seeing what I'm guessing would be hers because it's missing an eyeball. And so here is Ellen Johnson's art. Cool.
Kind of creepy.
It is. Yeah, well, there's a kind of semi-official way that you can apply to do art for us. That would just simply be to email a portfolio link to mysterious@americanmcgee.com. And then the determination is based on a kind of review, like how quickly does an artist get a piece done? How much do they charge for the work that they're doing? Remembering that all of the work that we're getting done right now is being funded solely by Patreon. So if it weren't for Patreon, we wouldn't have how many artists do we have? 6, 7?
Something like that. I'd
Yeah.
go with 6.
So we're kind of not like a super professional setup, in the sense of there's not a big company funding us. We don't have a massive amount of money in overhead that we can spend on some artists are super expensive. So, we'll talk with her if she wants to send over a portfolio. She comes back and says, hey, one of my images is like $5,000 a piece. Ouch. But if she can be more in line with the guys that are currently working with us, then yeah, we can see. All right, it is contest time.
Did we miss any super chats? Just for my own curiosity.
No, Font Lord.
Well, I'm just checking.
I'm keeping an eye on it. So it is time for
It is that time.
contest. Now, how are you going to run it this time? What do they need to spam the chat with?
Spam the chat with, I don't know, something to do with Keanu Reeves, probably.
What's your favorite Keanu Reeves movie? Hey, there you go. Look at that. We were in sync. That was super cute.
I watched Johnny Mnemonic a couple of weeks ago, and the opening text crawl of that movie, it's so embarrassingly like future techie cyberpunk.
Right.
It's such nonsense about like what people thought the future was going to be like.
Yeah, it's always pretty
20
embarrassing.
years ago or whatever.
Yeah. What is my favorite? I mean, I really love The Matrix, but I also really love John Wick. Both of those movies are quite good. And what would be my favorite Keanu Reeves movie? I don't know.
Speed.
Speed's good.
Point Break.
That's lower on the list.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
That's a fun movie.
Bogus Journey, I believe, is better than Excellent Adventure.
They're both pretty good. Wayne's World was not. That was no.
It's Mike Myers.
That's Mike Myers and Dana Carvey. Anyway, so this is what you're going to win. Do spam up the chat with your idea of
lots of John Wicks and Matrixes in here. Speed.
Bill and Ted.
Constantine. Lol. I did like Constantine.
Wasn't my favorite, though.
It was never set the world on fire, did it? But it was pleasantly good. And it did have that woman that you don't like in it.
Which one is that?
Could be anyone.
As you make me sound like a complete misogynist. That's great.
The actress, the sort of quirky actress.
You're really narrowing it.
Snowpiercer.
You're really narrowing it down. Tilda
Tilda
Swinton.
Swilda
Tinton.
Yeah. She was good in that. I quite liked her.
Okay, first of all, here's some things I did not know about Keanu Reeves. First,
Zoolander. Was he? He's
Zoolander? 54 years old. I didn't know that.
Can you imagine being that hot when you were 54.
Did you know he was born in Lebanon?
I might have. I might have known that.
What? I didn't know that. He's Lebanese. I love Lebanese food. No wonder I like Keanu Reeves so much. But it says here he's a Canadian American. What is that? What's a Canadian American? Anyway.
Somebody said R.I.P. Super Chat. I hope we didn't miss one.
Well, you shouldn't super chat during the
Aletha Gray
Constantine in there.
Constantine.
All right. I think
please don't super chat during the spammings if you're new here.
During the spamming.
The spamminings.
All right. Well, we're gonna have Nightbot choose.
Ooh, let me get my piece of paper so I can.
Super Bombastic Bumbling Plastic has won the Bill and Ted's Excellent Super Chat Spamming Contest Adventure. Congratulations, Super Bombastic
I'm not even gonna write
Bubbling
all that.
Plastic.
I'm just going to put ...
Whatever. So, Super Bombastic Bubbling Plastic. It's actually quite easy once you've said it a few times.
Yeah, but it's long to write.
Well, so anyway, Super Bombastic Bubbling Plastic, you have won the contest. You're going to get your own set of Asylum Certified Insane dog tags. All you need to do is send an email to mysterious@americanmcgee.com. Be sure to include your name, your phone number, your mailing address, and mention the fact of what you won. And keep in mind that if you misformat that in any way, shape, or form or make it difficult for myself or Fontlord, what's going to happen?
You're not going to get it.
One more thing they have to be reminded of.
And Lulu's going to bite your face.
Not that.
Oh.
There's one more thing they have to be told. Come on, Martin. You've got 1 day to send that email in to us.
Oh, yeah. That's what we started doing.
Anyway, that's mysterious@americanmcgee.com. Send all the stuff. And yeah, congratulations again. Super Bombastic Bubbling Plastic. It's actually fun to say once you've...
It is. It's a fun name.
You haven't said it once.
But I'm thinking it.
Right. Did you notice that these sunshines are literally barfing into the arboretum, the botanical garden?
I haven't really analyzed this picture that much, but it's good.
There's always fun stuff hiding in these pictures. So this is, I think, what would be the final version of Joey's rendering of the bio room.
The Botanical garden.
Botanical.
Wasn't it?
Yes. And yeah, I had asked her to break this scene up by creating little floating islands throughout the whole pathway here. And all she did was sort of lower one section at the start. So she sent this to me and was like, I'm finished with this. Okay.
Accept it. It's done.
I take it you don't want to play with this anymore. That's fine. I see. And so, but she hid this, and this is new.
Closer.
So
Get closer.
I just think this is subliminal messaging to suggest that I'm tired. I don't want to do this picture anymore. This is how I feel about this. You know, doesn't that feel like one of the Teletubbies?
It does a little bit.
It really looks like a Teletubby. It'd be funnier if what was coming out the mouth was green and disgusting, though, because then I'd want to avoid being spat on by that thing.
I suppose.
Yeah, well. So yeah, this is meant to be a section within the stage of denial, I believe. And that's the stage in the game where Alice is kidnapped into the circus. But we're getting way ahead of ourselves.
Ooh, let's go back.
Yeah. So when we last left...
Previously on live stream.
Previously on Art Review, Alice and her sister were building a snowman. Mm. And they were using ye olde Brit slang.
Ye olde Victorian Brit slang. Cool, leet, hacksaw, etc.
Kawaii. So yeah, they I guess Lizzie coldly jammed a dead branch into the snowman's pale side. I think a little blood tear ran down his button eye. And so, you know, Lizzie got what she deserved when she burned to death in her bed. So, yeah, then we hear Mom yelling from inside that supper is ready.
Ooh.
And I feel there's a distinct kind of Mr. Burns evil knowing smile on the snowman's face. Do you see that?
A little bit.
I think so. I think he knows what's about to happen.
So the snowman did it.
Could be. So yeah, the girls run off. They run off to the house. And the snowman is left there menacingly.
He knows. The camera just focuses in on the snowman's face.
I know what's going to happen to you guys. Yeah, so we hear in the distance the family talking happily, but no. A single snowflake comes and that's not good. That's not good. That seems to be suggesting that something very bad is about to happen. Oh, no. So the snowman does the Indiana Jones Nazi face routine. I always thought that was an excellent scene in that movie. So yeah, he melts, and he actually suggests that Alice should run.
The snowman.
Which is weird, because I'm pretty sure he's the one that started the fire now. But yeah, Alice run, and then we get a burnt black skull underneath the snow, and it's talking. It's saying, Alice, run.
It was all a dream.
It was a dream. She wakes up from that, and she, again, I think Joey's been reading a bit of Japanese manga. Isn't this sort of manga styling?
A little bit. It does look it.
I feel like...
The old lines as shading.
I feel like she's been doing a bit of manga consumption. Anyway, so that does wake her from her dream. Now, as much as I like the fact that we've got a bit of story and some scenes emerging, this is great because it's telling a story. And you're there, aren't you?
Mm.
Yeah. The problem here is we've said that perhaps the beginning of the game would be a kind of slow start, like a 20 minutes of us. We could start out here with them building a snowman, but when mom calls and says supper is ready, at this point we would take control, the player, and we would use Alice, and we would follow into the house, and then from that point forward we would have some, I don't know, 15-20 minutes of exploration.
Press X to eat supper.
Press X to eat supper. Press X to fart in a quiet Victorian manner under the table at dinner and maybe be grounded. But yeah, so I think that there is going to be a period in the start of the game where we see the family life, and we see the interior of the house, and then Alice is tucked in. It's not a cutscene. This would be playable, right? And I think the thing we heard was comparable, like we were talking about this the other day, was if you play like the recent God of War. At the beginning of God of War, it's actually quite soothing.
It is. What is it? You start out, you like get in a tree, aren't you?
You drag a tree through the forest, turn it into a canoe, and boy, get over here, boy. Stop farting around behind that tree.
Pretty much what he said.
It is. But I really liked that because I felt that it did a great service to introduce the nature of the characters and of the world in which they lived. And it also set up quite a bit of mystery, because wasn't what they were doing out there in the woods related to the process of having to set fire to the dead mom?
It was.
And so it set up all these questions as to like, ooh, who am I? Why am I burning this lady's body? Who's this kid? Where are we? What are we? It did all that, and it did it without a single line of exposition. So
I don't think people can say spoilers for this now. It's been out like 6 months.
It's been out like a year.
Has it been that long?
On. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, we're going to have a bit of time in the beginning of the game to do something similar around Alice's home and family, but then there will be the waking up and holy hell, my house is on fire, and then we haven't quite yet figured out exactly how that's going to go, but there will be a transition to the asylum, and then from the asylum into the first stage of Wonderland, which we're calling denial. So this is slumber, where the house is on, catches on fire. Yeah. Who's this?
Who is this? It's
Arya Stark.
Arya Stark. No. Alice, of course. But now, correct me if I'm wrong, this was a Norman piece of art as you choke to death?
Yeah, this was Norm.
Right.
He, of course, was the one who defined the original look for Alice back when we were doing American McGee's Alice. Sorry, I was trying to breathe water there. Still haven't perfected that skill. So this was Norm taking a stab at illustrating what sort of 12, 13-year-old Alice of Alice Asylum era would look like. And then on this side was...
Omri has tweaked it slightly, as Omri is wont to do. Both of them I could get behind. I mean, at that age, she probably would be a little plumper in the face.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, the sort of more slender face over on the right gives more of a hint as to what she will look like when growing up. So, I mean, yeah, I could get behind both of these images, really.
Yeah.
I wonder what other people out there in Chatland think.
Well, like you said, so left was Norm's original drawing trying to capture the spirit of a younger Alice, a more innocent Alice. And then on the right is Omri doing a little bit of cleanup to make her not quite so... Is it politically incorrect to say plump?
I think you can say plump.
Okay, she's a little plump. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. My sense was this reminds me very much of like if you watched Game of Thrones when you first met Arya Stark and you thought, she's just a little girl and there's not. But what was great about her is that she had all this room to grow, and she started off looking kind of like this, like very innocent, wide-eyed, a bit naive, and then she grew into, I think one of the show's more interesting characters. Of course, they took all the agency away from her the last episode, but we won't get into that. She grew into one of the more dynamic characters on the show, and that would be, the transformation we've seen from the first Alice game through the End of Madness Returns. So we do want a starting place where we can kind of giggle at the innocence of young Alice, but then that'll give us a lot of headroom in which, she can grow up into the Alice, the darker Alice that we know and love. What's the chat saying about all this?
Again, it doesn't seem to be
am
like
I in trouble for saying plump, by the way?
I said plump first.
The Nerdy Pickle says lame.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a consensus. Some people say both are fine. Some people say left, some right. Ghost World doesn't like either of them.
Look, Priscilla is saying, I like them both, but I don't believe her. She's just saying that to pretend like she actually likes something.
Last stream, Priscilla did like something. Remember? I don't remember what it was.
I don't know. I'm not buying it, Priscilla.
But yes, doesn't really seem to be a consensus here.
Well, there are some comments. The nose is wrong. Baby fat, says Ghibli Girl. I like the left, looks more innocent, says Sebling. I think this Brian says, it looks like from left to right, her whole face broke at the jaw. Dentist.
Oh, no.
Maybe. I think that there's a mix, but apparently plump is all good to say my dudes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't say plump was negative.
What did Greg say? Maybe she starts to slim down in the asylum due to not being fed well. Yes, this is correct. I do believe that...
Maybe I should get thrown in an asylum.
You need to go to the asylum. It is true that she's going to go from the warm, cozy, well-fed home life to the asylum, and we should, in fact... see the effect of that on not just her mind, but also on her body. So we will begin with her looking a bit more, as you see here, and then we will transition through the course of Asylum to the Alice that we all know from the series. So, yeah, I think it's fine. I think so. I think we're looking good there. There are other characters that are getting a bit fleshed out. Now, this is Mom, I believe, and that's sister, right? Okay, so Mom, how you feeling about Mom?
Mom's pretty cool. I would date her.
Cool, is that the word that all the cool British kids of the Victorian era were using?
Yeah, they were describing people's moms as cool.
Right. I mean, I don't have really strong feelings on her as presented here. I'm kind of curious as to whether or not that is the dress of the day. I don't know that I even looking at that, it feels a little bit not how I would imagine it. I guess it depends on whether it's something Jesus, $12,000 for a dress. Man, oh man. So yeah, it feels a little bit, now that's not Victorian. Why are you even showing up here? Google. So these are Victorian dresses. Man, there's some really cool dresses. I'd wear that. Gothic, but that's not Victorian. That's just Gothic. No wonder I'd wear that. Victorian era costume. I feel like obviously she's not going to be wearing something like this in the house.
Wearing like a big hat like that for lunch.
Yeah, I mean, these are clearly for going out. I think what we need to get hold of are some like kind of Victorian homeware images. Did people in their own house go around in pajamas when they were cooking dinner? I don't know. Yeah, this is sort of more like it. But we need to kind of establish the style correctly. I feel like what Omri's presented here may not be exactly in keeping with the traditional houseware.
Oh, Hannah Michelle saying looks too clean.
Yeah,
this image. Yep. Some people mentioned the hands. Let's have a look at the hands.
She does have quite blocky, but this is just a quick sketch.
All right.
Let's not get all caught up on the hands.
Okay. Someone here. I like her. Mum is great. What else have we got? Eva Marie super chats though. Thank you for that. I like the plump face best. It really shows Alice's early innocence, I think. It does.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I was hesitant to criticize it for the simple reason that it could serve a purpose in showing the transformation from healthy, at-home, pre-trauma to broken asylum inmate. And so, we wouldn't notice that if she started off already a little skinnier. But if she starts off healthier like that, and then we fast forward to her in the asylum, and it's like, holy hell, she's turned into a skeleton. That could make a lot of sense. So
yeah,
we'll see how that goes. Did we lose any other super chats here? No,
I don't think we did.
I think
stretch.
So Mom is great. A bit lackluster, says Ghost World. You better watch out, Ghost World. Mom's going to be knocking on your door tonight. She does burn down houses, Made me think of the show Dynasty. That's an old show from the U.S. I'm sure you have. Have you seen that before?
I remember that.
Mom is look good, says Stuffy. Her eyes are terrifying. Are they?
Are they?
I don't know about that. They could be, I suppose. Depends on whether or not you listened to your mom as a child, perhaps.
They look
Listen
stern.
to me. Dinner is ready. Get in here and eat your peas.
I'm burning to death.
Sinistar, run, Sinistar. All right. Boy. So yeah, we'll work on Mom, and we'll figure out what she should be wearing. And then, of course, we have Sister. Now, this kind of feels more like what I'd expect her to be wearing around the house.
It's a little less on the fancy side.
It is. But she doesn't look like somebody who would enjoy building a snowman. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Has she got funky hands as well?
No, they're fine.
They're fine. But she does feel like somebody we'd be having dinner with in the Victorian era home. Right?
Sorry, say that again. I was distracted by chat.
She feels like somebody we would be having dinner with in our Victorian era home.
Yes, I think so.
Right. So I think she works. Now, does she have scary eyes? Let's see here. Eat your broccoli. Eat your broccoli. No, I think she's fine. There's nothing wrong with her.
She's fine.
She's okay. So anyway, that's Mom and that's Sis, and we don't yet have Keanu Dad. Keanu Dad still needs a little bit of work, but all of this is going to be put into an environment. We actually have one of our artists, Jennifer Daw. She is doing a very good job applying her skills at cute to the world of kind of warm, cute Alice's little pre-fire home. He's
And
the one
she
that
is
did
in the
it.
chat, or at least
I burned the
was.
house down. I burned the house down. Okay, sorry. So yeah, she's working on interior design for the little house.
She put Gary Busey in the... No.
Is he there? No, that's Keanu Dad. Oh no. What's going on here though? That doesn't seem right.
Looks like the terrifying picture in the It remake.
Something's wrong with that face. Is that always been that way, or did these guys do that as a joke?
I don't know.
I don't know too. You know what would be cool though is if some of these patterns we hid in the house, right? If we hid, I don't know if you've seen this before. Like there's wallpaper where they'll hide skulls, and that would be kind of fun to do a little foreshadowing of like skulls and fire hidden in the pattern of the wallpaper or in the filigree on the drapes and stuff like that. Yeah, so they're working on interior design.
Apparently that's the original mom.
Really? Because she looks messed up. She really looks not right. That looks like the one that we took reference from, the actor who messed up her face that we were showing for the Queen. What was that actress's name?
Pete Burns?
Yeah, Pete Burns. Is it Pete Burns has made another weird appearance in our game?
Maybe.
Even years ago? Yeah, see, I think Pete Burns somehow made it into the original, that piece of art there.
Wow.
How did that happen?
Don't know.
It's almost like this has always been the plan all along. This Pete Burns. I mean, it is fire that burned down their house. So, I mean, it's been in his name all along. Is it a him or a her?
It's a him.
Okay, well, he clearly burned down Alice's house. Look at that. Tell me that's not... Come on. No.
Speaking of burns, have you got like really hot suddenly? I'm really hot now.
Oh, Martin.
Did you not?
It's menopause.
Could be.
It's menopause,
I'm
Martin.
burning up here. I'm getting all sweaty.
All right. So why don't we, before we go into our next contest to give away fun stuff, Martin, why don't you do a little talk about your pet project?
Okay.
There you go. Take it away.
This is the potential, fingers crossed, touch wood, next Kickstarter that we may do. The Cosplay of American McGee's Alice coffee table book. The image you're seeing on screen right now is just a mock-up. It's probably going to look a bit like that, but probably not going to have the cosplayers on the back. But yeah, we want to do a book showcasing, I hope we can do like at least 100 cosplayers. And actually, I'll tell you now, American, the survey that we set up for people to write in, we've got about 170.
Woo, 170.
Yeah, so that's lots of people wanting to take part.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were looking into doing this, crunching the numbers, seeing if people are interested, if there was a big, it's going to be like at least 13 by 11 inches.
Right.
Coffee table book sized. Yeah, see if people are interested in this, if they would back the Kickstarter, if it's something they want. And yeah, we're just chipping away at this.
Right.
Seeing what we can do. There is a Facebook page, which is at Alice Cosplay Official, I believe. There it is, over on the left. Yep. So yeah, go over there, like it, follow it, show your support, send this page along if you know an excellent Alice cosplayer. The more the merrier and all that. And yeah, it's currently a bit of a slow burn. We're not going to be like trying to rush this out or anything, but it's something that we're tootling along with. So yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah, there you go. Well done, Font Lord. It's not just fonts you're good at. It's doing overviews of potential Kickstarter. So this is potential because we still don't know if it really makes sense, if we're going to get enough people who are even interested in it. So we have to kind of feel these things out.
We've definitely got enough cosplayers who are interested.
So now the question is, are there enough Alice fans who care about Alice cosplayers to warrant doing it? We don't know the answer to that yet.
I think we would need at least 2,500 people to make it viable.
Well, we'll see.
Minimum.
It's just one of those things we're playing around with. All right, It is contest time. We are going to give away another set, or I shouldn't say set. We're going to give a tag away. They don't come in a set. They do come in one tag with one necklace. So spam up the chat and let us know which number you hope to receive. You will not receive that number. If you did, it would be a miracle of the universe, and you should just immediately quit all you're doing and go bet all your money on the nearest horse race. But if you could choose, you cannot choose, but if you could choose, what number would you choose? What number do you wish the gods would see to delivering to your doorstep?
Truth Decay super chats to ask if we will feature their Martin cosplay. Have you seen that? I haven't.
I haven't seen
no idea what you're talking about.
Don't know what that is, but here we go. People are asking to get. There's a lot of Satanists out there. Apparently, they all want 666.
Well, nobody's going to get 6667, as we just saw.
That wouldn't work, but someone will get 666, and you know that here in China, 666 doesn't have the satanic negative connotation. It's actually considered a good luck number.
Ooh.
Who knew?
You knew.
I knew, but yeah, so somebody wants 2600. Now, I appreciate that's a good hacker joke there. There actually used to be a magazine called 2600 that I got a prescription. See, what's wrong with my brain today? Anyway, I had a subscription to 2600, and I loved that because it was a book full of hacking and freaking. It would tell you, for instance, how to make free phone calls on a public phone outside, or how to get your modem to connect to some power grid controller system that you shouldn't be connected to. It was
Did you do anything naughty?
I did lots of naughty things based on the projects in 2600 magazine, yes.
There's a lot of 666s.
There are.
But no 420s.
It's funny.
That's good.
Somebody wants 2000. Somebody wants 1111.
2600.
Yeah.
Not going to happen because it only goes up to 2250.
Yep. Well, there's a lot of people out there who want 666 who are going to be 666 disappointed. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who gets what.
6 plus 6. Don't think that's a number.
Yeah, Wendy J says that magazine sounds awesome. I do think, Wendy, that you should go out. I think if you go online, there's a lot of it's been archived now, the old magazines, and it was a very cool magazine. It was back in the day when you hacked stuff for real. You could take apart a telephone and do interesting stuff with it. Alrighty, that brings us to the end of contest spam. Let's ask Nightbot who's gonna win. Priscilla. Oh, look at that. It's all because she's been so positive. This is the universe responding in kind, Priscilla.
Actually won something 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
Well, 3 streams ago.
Well, congratulations, Priscilla. You have won a certified insane dog tag. You know the drill. You need to send an email to mysterious@americanmcgee.com and include your name. She wants number 559. I don't think she realizes that she's won yet. So Priscilla, send an email to mysterious@americanmcgee.com. Include your name, your mailing address, your phone number, and the fact that you've won, and do all that in a format which is not grumpy and is not saying that you don't like everything. Oh, I mean, in a way that is easy for us to interpret and send your stuff to you. There you go. Please do. Congratulations for winning yet again.
Yeah.
Be positive. If you're positive, then positive things come to you. Not the people who want a 666 dog tag, by the way. You're not going to get that. All right. Where were we? We were playing in the snow and burning down Alice's family. And then we jumped to a contest. Now, some of the other work that's being done right now, we are defining Alice's movements.
Okay. So we'll look at what's going on here.
Am I being salty? Was that even salty? I thought that was just cute and funny.
What did you say?
I guess I was playing with Priscilla and saying, I don't know.
Oh. Priscilla wants us to roll it again.
If she says so.
If you want. I mean, you can have 2 tags.
You can have 2. Does she really want us to roll it again?
That's what she said.
Chris Ryan.
Okay.
All right. So, Priscilla, you gave your tag to Chris Ryan. And Chris Ryan is explaining that 666 is Solomon. The only other place the number exists in the Bible is his relationship with the Queen of Sheba. And she would send him 666 talents of gold, talons of gold every year during this time as a ruler. And I guess Chris's description of why 666 is interesting. It won him the prize, even though he wrote that after he won.
Yeah.
Who knew? All right, Chris,
There
you
you go.
won mysterious@americanmcgee.com. Send your name, your phone number, your mailing address, the fact that you won one of these things. And please do that in a format that doesn't cause frustration or angst or any of those negative emotions for us.
And do it within a day.
And do it within a day.
Don't do it next week.
And thank you, Priscilla, for being so kind and full of light and positivity. And I'm not being salty.
Joy.
I don't even understand why can't I just make fun sometimes without people telling me to stop doing that?
I think most people know. It's fine.
I don't know. Eat your veggies. Okay, so we're also working on defining Alice's movements in the game. So these will end up on the wiki, and we'll have a nice little library that very clearly shows the actions you can take. I think we've defined all kinds of stuff: walking, crawling,
Jumping, floating.
carefully walking. We have said maybe we would do shrink, but also a little instantaneous grow button.
Yeah, but there's problems with that, isn't there? So we said that maybe it was not a grow, it's sort of like an extend for like ledgers. Don't know.
All right. So yeah, this has also got walking on a narrow place against the wall, tossing a small object, and carefully walking on a high place.
Why is there an Alice just sitting in an alcove? What's that?
Is she not hiding after she's tossed this object? So she's tossed a cherry bomb, and it's going to explode over there and bother some enemies, and then she's ducked down here. She's
Is
crouched
that what it
down.
is?
Yes.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah, so this is getting done up, and we'll have a full-on catalog of these kind of movements, and that'll help us to understand exactly what you can do and how you can move around inside the world of Asylum.
Yay.
Good stuff. We also got, what else this week, art-wise?
What's in the folder?
There is a suggestion for a weapon that I'm going to just say straight up, I don't like. I know. I'm just being honest here. It's not my favorite, and I'll explain why in just a moment. But first, I'd like to hear what do you think about this, Font Lord? There she is hiding.
So it's possible they float in the air. Let Alice pick them up. I don't mind. I mean, jacks were surely around at this time, were they not?
Mm-hmm.
So it's fine for them being there. I don't mind. But I would assume, and I'm just trying to speed read this, that they would be like tossable on the floor and would do damage to enemies that walked over them.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe.
Well, the way he's put the presentation together here, the jacks have a number of functions. And speaking of 666, they look quite satanic. Satan's jacks, the devil's jacks, the devil's playthings. They do seem to have a couple of different functions. I mean, one, first of all, is that upon leaving her hand, they expand in size.
Ooh.
These seem to blow up into bits of shrapnel. So this is on upgrade 3 that all the little pieces come off and apparently stab people in the eye. So the basic thing seems to be that if you see someone taking a selfie, you can throw this at them and it'll pow on them, and that probably results in death. So right here is toss it at them and it goes pow. Upgrade 2 is how it's presented in AMA. Upgrade 3 increases the radius of destruction, and upgrade 4. So, basically they bounce around and they do damage all over the place.
Okay.
So in a moment here, I'm gonna explain why I'm not the biggest fan of that. But first, we have
Carbon Super Chats for the Cosplay collection set. Set up a TikTok account. Make posts with the Madness Returns hashtag. 9.6 million TikToks. A place to find new fans too.
All right. Well, we'll have a look. I don't have a TikTok account.
I don't. I mean, it's just full of like dancing girls.
I don't know.
It is.
How do you know that if you don't have an account? I thought it was also what PewDiePie was constantly doing his meme reviews based on people doing all kinds of cute videos and singing.
The ones that people share on like WeChat and stuff that send around, it's usually some kind of dancing.
You mean
girl.
not the ones you're finding on porn sites?
No, not those ones.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, on the one hand, TikTok is huge these days. On the other hand, does that mean it's harder to try and get in there?
Right. Right.
Tricky.
Something to think about. Thank you for the suggestion, Connor. I am oftentimes very surprised, to be honest, with the fact that I'll share, say, a concept image on my Twitter, and I may only get a few likes and a few retweets. And then someone else who has a Twitter account with a much smaller number of followers will tweet out the same picture, and they get thousands of retweets and likes. Same with our YouTube videos. I feel like, we've got maybe 30,000 subscribers on YouTube, but whenever we put a YouTube video up, we're lucky to get a few thousand views, but you'll see other videos from channels that are practically non-existent that'll do that without even batting an eye. So I don't know. I feel like we haven't cracked the mysteries of the internet algorithms.
Not yet.
I do want to say that our insane children have cracked one mystery, though, and that is that if you dab, you will kill the stream. Right after they dabbed, we got lag. So
we've had lag all stream though.
Yeah,
apparently,
but not like them complaining about it like that. So something to be aware of. Be very careful with your dabbing. Yeah. So I think that back to
tell us why you are not a fan of the Jacks.
So, despite the fact that they have a name which makes them sound like a person, hi, I'm Jack. There's not a lot of personality contained in these. So, for instance, here's the rabbit. The rabbit is emoting. The rabbit is showing by virtue of his stance and his movement here. He's alive. He's got a character to him. What the hell's going on with Alice's legs, Omri? I mean, there's quick sketching, and then there's chicken frog legs. That sounds yummy. I wonder if there's a restaurant where we could go get some chicken frog legs.
Ugh.
Yummy. We ate a lot of frog legs during this trip.
Ugh.
So anyway, Omri, don't draw Alice with frog legs. It's like a frog umbrella legs. What's going on there? Maybe he's trying to suggest this could be some sort of item she carries around, a frumbrella.
A frumbrella.
Frogbrella? Anyway, I'm making this silly point for a reason. Look at these guys. There's just nothing. There's nothing we can kind of come away from them with. They don't emote. They don't have a character to them. They don't tell a story. And look, I think they're beautifully rendered. And I also think that Omri got very attached to the artistic presentation of these things. They make a wonderful sculpture, right? They make for something that really shows off your shading skills or your texturing skills, because they're complicated in terms of geometric shape, but there's no emotion in them.
Okay.
I want my weapons to elicit a response. When we saw the teapot cannon of the, I don't know how many streams ago, 2 streams ago, we all giggled. We all laughed with joy. Did we not? We all thought, haha, that's silly. I can't wait to murder somebody by shooting a cup of hot steaming tea right into their stupid face. And there's a joy in that, right? I'm going to try to pull up. You read that super chat while I try to find.
Yes, while you look for that. Hannah Michelle super chats. Thank you for that. Will you be able to upgrade your weapons higher than Alice Madness? Maybe have more to upgrade. It felt like the upgrade stopped too soon in Madness. I guess, it's kind of an abstract question, because, I mean, one game is not the other. So does it matter? As long as it's kind of engaging and functional within the game. I'm sure there will be many an upgrade, but to compare it to another upgrade tree, I'm not sure how you do that. But
will it be better?
Yeah, I mean, I'm certain there will be lots of upgrading.
Yes. Thank you for the super chat and for the question. It is hard to say, Hannah, whether or not one thing would be, I mean, more upgrading would be better, or if, but I guess I get your point that you could have been upgrading more if that's the kind of thing that you like about games is to upgrade your weapons. Personally, I like to unlock more and more features within weapons and to see more effects on screen. So I guess I could understand that. Yeah. Just really quickly, this is the image that made me giggle, and this is what I'm saying. I mean, it's hard to compare jacks to a chainsaw.
Porcelain chainsaw.
Steam powered.
But
Tea powered.
But the chain, the actual teeth, is like jagged porcelain
cup
bits, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is great. This is filling up cups with tea and shooting these stupid card guards right in their stupid holes.
You just go straight through the hole.
No, it seems to have exploded in some happy fireworks. Area of effect shrapnel spread, in fact. Very technical. So anyway, this has, in my mind, I can hear this thing, right?
What does it sound like?
Oh, come on, don't make me do it. It's got a gluggy, slurpy...
Glug, glug, glug.
Yes. Why does it fart at the end? But my point is, that's all fine and good. What, pray tell, would the jacks sound like? I mean, there's not going to be anything terribly interesting about the sound of firing jacks at somebody. Maybe when they hit somebody in the face, there could be some sort of satisfying, meaty, jacked you up. I can imagine the VO from Alice, like, yeah, I jacked you up. Okay, I'm sold. Well, it's going in the game just so Alice can have that line.
Jack you up, governor.
Prepare to get jacked. Oh, that's the tagline for the new game, Alice Asylum. Prepare to get jacked.
Let's get jacked. There you go. It's done.
Boy.
Don't need marketing departments anymore. It's done.
Done. Alrighty. Taylor,
thank you for the super chat. Joey's flamingo is my favorite weapon thus far. I hope it's the hobby horse of this game.
The flamingo as a weapon.
Was it ever drawn as a weapon?
Not sure.
I mean, we've seen a lot of art now. Are we starting to forget because there's been so much art? If I just think
the
of
bloody, she
flamingo,
had the image where she had the bloody flamingo.
Yeah,
was
that's
it done
the
as a
image
weapon?
that I'm thinking.
Well, Taylor, you're gonna have to clarify which thing you're referring to there. Yeah. So moving on, there was another suggestion. Our stream is dying.
Oh no!
If you're still getting this message, we are losing our VPN here. So just hang in there, and hopefully it'll recover. So along the lines of jacking you up, we have balls, and so I mean another tagline that may come out of something, and I have the same complaint with this is Alice Asylum. Prepare for balls. Anyway, aside from my silly marketing taglines based on these things, I don't feel like there's a lot of emotion or character contained in these types of weapons, and so I'd much rather that we see weapons that I don't know, that don't just have a funny tagline, but actually have a kind of character to them in and of themselves.
A marble bag with a little timer on it, maybe. That's got a little more character.
Maybe, but I don't know. Maybe. We'll have to see. Anyway, we've got so many other great potential weapons that I don't know that we need to be looking at things like marbles and jacks just yet. Someone does say that the flamingo weapon is on the wiki.
Taylor go and super chatted us again.
So
let us know. So
is it this? There's a
flamingo. Is there like a better one? Go back.
Are you flamingo shaming that one?
A little bit.
That was it.
Is it not listed as a separate thing up
Stuffed
there?
flamingo.
Yeah.
Ah, here we go.
I remember it now.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. I mean, again, I would prefer this because this thing is going to be able to squawk and talk, and it's going to be able to complain about you using it as a weapon. It may even poop whenever you swing it at something and miss, just to tell you that you're
You missed.
You missed. That
your
was
poop.
poop. Exactly. So yeah, I think that this would be for me a much better type of Wonderlandy weapon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had forgotten about this. There's quite a few weapons in this folder here.
We've got so much art.
Yeah, we may
We've
already
got
have
enough art to do like an Art of Alice Asylum.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say we may already have all of the weapons and power ups and all the stuff that we need. Poe.
It kind of looks like one of the robots that Stewie made in Family Guy.
It does.
That got more intelligent than he did.
It really does. Speaking of Family Guy, that actually has nothing to do with where we're going right now, but we do want to give a shout out to our favorite sponsors over at Freaky Fandoms. This is Andrew and Deborah Hawkins, and they have been one of my biggest, they've been, as a group, my biggest supporters. It's difficult to do that with they. They've been big supporters of mine for many, many years through many Kickstarters and now on to Patreon. And of course, they also have their own Patreon where they are asking you to become fans of the work that they're doing. Freaky Fandoms is it's usually weekly podcast.
Yeah, usually.
And a lot of times they find opportunity to sit down with creators of film art. This week they're talking to Shet Zar, who is an artist director who they are big fans of, and they're going to talk with him about one of his favorite movies of all time, that is Dawn of the Dead. When was the last time you saw Dawn of the Dead? That's a very classic Romero movie.
Dawn of the Dead is the shopping mall one?
Yes.
Right. The original I haven't seen, probably going back 10 plus years. The remake is actually pretty fantastic as well.
They are good movies.
But yeah, I remember the originals from when I was a youngster. I was terrified of like zombie stuff. Just something about them really creeped me out, that they were just people gone bad. And like that you could become one. That really like terrified young me. So I remember sort of like trying to half watch it through like the living room door. And like my family was watching it, but yeah, terrified the poop out of me. But I have since come to quite like sort of end of the worldy zombie apocalypse type movies. So
which is good.
I got over it.
Because otherwise I wouldn't want to watch films with you if you were pooping everywhere while we did that. But if you would like to hear some feedback and opinion on movies like Dawn of the Dead from amazing artists like Chet Zar, going through the podcasts from the guys over at Freaky Fandoms, definitely go and check out freakyfandomspodcast.com. You can also find them on Patreon, on Spotify, on iTunes, all those things. SoundCloud. There are links in the description below. They are our biggest sponsors, so they are helping us, as are many of our insane children, to make Alice Asylum a reality. So please go support them, because in doing so, you're also supporting us.
Yeah.
Yay.
They're still talking about the flamingo in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
Did they hear anything we just said, or is it because we're lagging?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? They think they just really like the flamingo. It could be it. Or the jack bomb.
Did you print the questions?
I did not print the questions. No worries. We can just click on the questions here.
We could.
In the whatsy. I don't even know where they are. There you go.
Anyway.
So we do have just a bit more art to look at here before we get to question time. This is more storyboarding. Now, Omri describes this as lame. You know, he's
who did this storyboard?
Omri did.
He's describing his own work as lame.
That's okay. He's an artist. You know, they're usually very hypercritical of their own work, which is what drives them to get better and better over time. Yeah. So this is his idea of what we would see after Alice has made her way through shock And in shock, we've got these creatures that have been chasing after her. Now, these could be Alex's shock manifest beasties, the things that we started off today's art stream with.
Could be.
And that lots and lots of them have now been woke up, and they're all chasing her through the last area of shock. And then she's got to make her way to this clearing where, lo and behold, there is a minecart. She's got no choice but to jump onto that. And then we hark back to Your Mine, which was an area, a sign that we saw, but please not that horrible font design, says Omri, in America McGee's Alice. So we're going to do a little bit of, what's that called? Foreshadowing? Yes.
Font retconning.
Font conning.
You
would be the expert.
Yeah.
Yes.
Use papyrus.
Use your power here. No. Font Lord, no. So yeah, this shows Alice then along this route. Do we say
Maybe.
route along this route, and she's going to go into the realm of denial. Again, he's doing a little bit of foreshadowing or I guess linking to the art that we see in AMA, because the mine section here is meant to be kind of a reference to that. And so she's going to do a little bit of a ride through the mines, these giant monsters still chasing after her. Now, I really like this. I like the idea that we get some of those shock manifest creatures growing up to be like the sizes of buildings.
Ooh.
That would really be really, really cool.
It would.
That's one of the things I feel like we didn't do enough of in either of the first two games, was messing around with scale. So I do hope we can get there in the new game. So yeah, the monsters get burnt, stopped. There's an explosion. It goes boom, he says. And then Alice skids her way into denial. So she's going to fall out of the sky. Everything goes to white. Now, of course, an orange bunny appears and dabs, he says. Not knowing that dabbing is what kills our stream. Please don't dab. And then she floats. Now, Omri, a wooden float thing, usually referred to as a sailboat. Sailboat.
Not anymore. It's a wooden float thing.
Oh boy. The Pirate Jam, where we take game developers from around the world and put them aboard wooden float things in Thailand. Welcome to your wooden float thing. You'll live aboard this wooden float thing for the next 10 days. So sounds great. I'm sure our sponsors would love that. So this wooden float thing, aka a sailboat, will take her into the first area of the denial stage. Again, we're just starting to work out sort of the timing and what you'll see in the various scenes at the start of Asylum.
Yeah.
Making good progress.
Really are. It's coming together.
It is coming together.
I can already kind of see it in my head. I mean, forget the gameplay bit that you can see in your head. The actual, like, the scenes, the cut scenes, how the story's coming together, what's happening from, like, place to place. I can see it coming together in my mind's eye.
Me too. I do think we're getting closer and closer to what the final vision of the thing is going to be. Of course, I can't say much about it, but there are some very good things going on behind the scenes with regards to business development, funding, and publishing. But yeah, for right now, just shush, but we're getting there. Yeah, this is one last concept. This one came from Alex, and this is showing a burnt bunny colossus.
It's pretty big.
Yeah, he's pretty messed up. Now, I like him from about the waist up.
Right.
But there was something about the feet that felt off to me.
Quite bunny-ish.
Yeah, but they kind of throw the balance off of the whole...
He is lopsided.
He's lopsided, but he just feels... I don't know. The proportions feel wrong when he's stood up on these legs.
Okay.
But this upper half of him, I think, is quite cool. And I do like the general concept of presenting enemies as burnt, obviously in reference to the fire, and having those be maybe in the earlier sections of the game to kind of show the damaging effect of the fire upon Alice's psyche.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good one.
It's a good one.
It is. It's kind of weird, the slant on it. But yeah, excellent stuff.
Yes, there you go. We do have people saying, WTF is that thing?
It's a burnt rabbit.
It is a burnt rabbit. Make it a plush, someone says. That would be a very stinky plush.
Pre-burnt.
Right. It is time for yet another contest. What are you going to do for the question this time? Is it going to be yet again about Keanu Reeves?
Might be. I don't know. My mind always goes blank when we have to think of a question.
What would you say to Keanu Reeves were you to meet him in person? You've only got like 2 or 3 words, by the way. So what would you say? You've only got just a brief passing. There's Keanu. He's right there in front of you. Keanu, I've always wanted to tell you.
You know what people are going to say? They're going to, whatever he said at E3, like, you're good, you're beautiful. What did he say?
We'll see how creative they get.
I bet somebody says it. I bet lots of people say it.
We'll see how creative they get. I've told you before that I was often having Lord of the Rings guy over to my house for barbecue. And
Andy Serkis.
No, not him. Frodo. And so every time he was downstairs, he was ringing the doorbell, and I would say to him, throw the ring, and he didn't think that was funny. He was
Forgot
dating
about that story.
Yeah, he was dating damn it, what's his name? He was dating my downstairs neighbor. What the hell?
Frodo.
Yeah, who played Frodo in Lord of the Rings?
It was Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood. So anyway, Elijah Wood used to come over to my house for barbecue, and I wasn't really friends with him. He was dating the girl downstairs, and I was friends with her. Anyway, he would come over, and when he would ring the doorbell, I thought that was the funniest thing in the world. Every time he came over, I would do that, and he would just make this horrible, like, F you face to me, and I didn't care, you know? And I never really socialized with him very much when he was over. I was like, whatever,
Because you kept mentioning the ring.
Anyway, so were I to meet, where I'm going with this is, were I to meet Keanu Reeves in person, I think I'd be like, you think that's air you're breathing?
Right after you'd farted.
I leave the farting to you or Lulu.
You're breathtaking.
Yes,
that's what he said at E3.
What would you say to Keanu Reeves?
I don't know, probably some quote from a movie. I don't know. Can't think of one. Maybe like, excellent. Or something.
See? There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Never really met many celebrities. In fact, any.
Well, I lived in Hollywood, so I had a chance to meet them all the time. They're
haven't.
just falling out of the trees there in Hollywood. Okay, so people are saying stuff like, hi, hey, I'd be starstruck. My precious. Now, that would be if you met Andy Serkis. Circus?
Circus.
Have him meet Lulu. Hello. You're breathtaking.
Secret to anti-aging. It's a good one.
But I feel like in recent years, the aging is finally catching up.
It's fake. He realized people were onto him as a vampire. Yeah. So he faked it.
There you go. All right. Well, there you go. Time travel works. Follow the rabbit. That's a good one. Follow the rabbit was a fun line from The Matrix, and the girl had the little rabbit on her tattoo.
I believe she was in. Was she like one of the Australian soaps? I think she was in Home and Away or Neighbours.
Maybe. Virgil Hiltz.
Virgil Hiltz.
You took the wrong pill, says Virgil Hiltz. Well, Virgil Hiltz, you've just won the contest, so you know the drill. You need to send an email to mysterious@americanmcgee.com, include your phone number, your mailing address, your name, the fact that you've won one of these shiny little tags. Make sure to put that all in a format which does not anger or offend myself or Fartlord. I almost called you Fartlord. Yeah, we'll get one of those sent out to you, and make sure you do all of that within the next 24 hours. If you do not follow all those commands, you will be immediately disqualified, and we will send out Lulu to your house to fart under your blanket. And trust me, you don't want that.
It's not nice.
No, you don't want that. It's not nice. Martin knows it. I know it. Anybody who's spent any time with Lulu knows that her farts are not as cute as her face. So I think that's it for art review. Do you want to get into question time?
We could do some.
Go for it.
I mean, are we going to talk about that bag that you just had on screen?
Yeah, the rabbit stuff is happening. We have sent the bag design off.
Cheshire stuff.
Cheshire Kitten. And we did actually. We got okay, so that's the bag. We should get a sample for the Cheshire bag very soon. And we'll be able to show that off on one of the upcoming live streams. This is what the bag is looking like. We took your feedback on the shape of it. I think some people were saying if we had used the previous design, then when you held the handles, it would like smush together.
It would.
So this fixes that problem. Yay, crowd design. And of course, we simplified it. We got rid of all of the logos and crap that I don't like. And I think that this stuff is going to end up being reflective.
Mm-hmm.
Some elements of it are reflective ink. So that'll be pretty cool. And then the Cheshire Cat itself. Now, this is the prototype number...
It's prototype 1.
1.
Because of its red nose.
Yeah, so he has red nose, red gums. That's with the bunny, with the rabbit there. And, of course, they're both sporting their Asylum tags. Now, we have in hand here prototype number 2.
We're going to use down cam.
Down cam. That's prototype number 2. And you'll see that his the coloring here is more of kind of a... In person, it's a little bit peachy, would you say? A little gold. Tad. It's a little gold, a little yellow, a little peachy. And of course, prototype 1 had more red. Focus. Come on, camera. There. No.
Yeah. So yeah, the eye, he's got more of a cat's eye in prototype 2.
Yeah, that there's more of a curve along the bottom of the eye. Now, one of the problems is the face is still flat. I don't know if we're going to be able to resolve this. Right. I said it in the last update. So we're sending instruction to them. We're going to give it one last hooray try. We will fix the color of the nose and the gums.
Back to prototype 1 style.
Back to that. Now, I was surprised because I thought, and I misread the audience, I thought a lot of people wanted the fur to be a little bit shorter in order to better show off the tattoos. But when I said that over on Patreon, everybody said, no, we like the fur like it is. So... Did they sew a little X into his bum? No. Thank God.
And the tail is better. From there's the oldie one. There's the newie one.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna get this video demonetized for looking at cat butts on a live stream. I know we are. Priscilla says she sends along 5 Thank you, matey. And says this bag art would look awesome on the back of a jacket. We can do that.
Do a jacket?
Yeah. Yeah. Nick, above that, says, don't pull a 76 with the bad lull. Okay, Nick, first off, I think what you meant to say, if you're gonna be cheeky, at least get your spelling right, Nick. I think you meant to say with the bag, and then I don't think that's lull. I think you wanted to put an O in there.
It could be lulls. People say lulls.
Okay, well, anyway, bag, bad. Nick, we actually released our canvas bag. You must have missed that. And when we did it, here's a down cam view of that. This was the canvas bag that we produced, and it's sturdy, and it's beefy. You look at the size of those handles. And when we did that, our bags were so awesome, they actually caused the Fallout bags to be horrible because we used up the entire world's supply of thick, good canvas. So we know how to make a bag. We know how to make a bag so good that it breaks the Fallout 76 bags. But thank you, Priscilla. Yes, we will make some other products maybe using that jacket idea. Okay, so back to cat review. What else happened here? We fixed up the tail.
The
paws.
pads.
This is very important. This was the thing I liked the most about the improvement. Is the paw pads actually have shape. Get out of there. They have shape. And what else happened? There was actually a little bit
color
of... Oh, yeah, the ear color is gray. Now, you said you don't like the ear color like this.
I don't mind. I just noticed it was different. I'm not sure which one I prefer.
I like the gray. The chat will have to tell us which one they like. But I want to know, is this perhaps the final version? Because I don't think that we can do much more with the face. And people have said, well, why don't you do a plastic nose? One of the reasons why I'd prefer that we not do that is because in this format, I think most people would feel safe giving this to a child because there's no pieces that can come off and choke them to death.
Once the earring was removed.
You'd have to take the earring off, but that's really easy to do because it's made to be removed. So if you wanted to give this to a child, you take the earring off, and now it's child safe because they're not going to bite off an eye and choke on an eye or choke on a nose. Ma'am, I'm sorry, your child choked to death on a Cheshire Cat nose. You're going to have to go sue American McGee.
So yeah, I think the changes on this, like the pads, the eye shape and stuff, mix it in with the color of the gums, the nose here, the red here, and I think we're onto a winner.
Yeah, I mean, I think other people, you're mentioning in the chat there that the color has changed a little bit, and I do prefer this lighter color to this grungier color.
Well, kind of weirdly, in real life, I actually think this one looks a little lighter. Oh.
I think your eyes are broken.
It's an optical illusion.
Your eyes are broken.
Maybe.
Yes. But yeah, I think that the oddest part about him for sure is going to be the flat face. And I just don't know. You know, the rabbit got a little bit of a bump in his face there. But of course, he doesn't have all this embroidery. And I think that's when the factory wrote to us, they said, oh, this embroidery is screwing up our ability to shape his face like that. So anyway, there you go. There's a pile of plush things. So let's do some questions.
All right. So these were from the storyboard post. Oh my God, we just dropped down to 0. Over on Patreon. So Chris Angelico, let's get this one out of the way. Did anyone else start singing "Do You Want to Build a Snowman"?
It's a good song. I did.
It's catchy.
I started singing that when I saw them building a snowman. It's cute.
The trailer for Frozen 2 is out.
Ooh.
It's pretty good. Nicholas Knockel about the Alice faces. Omri's edit looks great. It feels like, yeah, this is Alice. Having the player experience the first storyboard by walking through it, though, like in the beginning of Madness Returns, sounds fun, but might also be redundant. Don't think it will be redundant. Kind of like a little tutorial. Don't think tutorials are redundant.
No, I don't think it would be redundant. I think this is one of the things that came up as a question during the crowd design chat the other day, and I think that we had a lot of people who were in that chat who were saying, yes, we want to slow down, and yes, we want to experience the world as Alice knew it prior to the fire, a Richard Pryor fire.
With that again.
So anyway, you know, my mom watched that live stream and she said she was laughing out loud at Pryor fire. So hey, my mom thinks it's funny. You don't tell me not to do it.
It's fine then.
So yeah, I don't know, Nicholas Knockel. I think we are going to be exploring that part of her world, and I don't think it'll be redundant.
Yeah.
Just really quick, I do want to go over. There's a couple of comments on, feedback on the cat, and so we'll just look at those really quick. It's perfect, says Lucas. If separate the eyes and the nose can potentially make more of a cat face. I think that the point there is that if the embroidery was separated, as opposed to being one kind of piece of a mask, they're really struggling with this, just so you guys know, like, because the way they do this on the embroidery machine, I think they have to program it in. And I think in order for it to get translated onto a face like this requires that it's laid down flat. I don't know that anything that we did to change this area would really change the shape. We're almost looking at, like, they'd have to have some sort of a weird insert in there to create the bump.
Probably.
Yeah. So Eva Marie says she'd like to keep the fur short. Well, does that mean keep it like this or make it even shorter? Because most people were voting to leave it like it is. So somebody is saying here, Hannah Michelle is saying the color of the nose and the gums should be a light red, not like the first prototype. But this is a little too light.
It's too light. Yeah.
That's the other thing. You can actually smash his face to kind of stick out more. Maybe he just has a smashed face because when they get delivered in the mail, they get smashed. You can actually give his... Oh, yeah. You can give his face a bit more shape.
Yeah, a little bit.
Huh. Maybe he just got smushed in the mail. What else have we got there? Second one is the best one. I like the color of his nose. Love the Cheshire Cat. Is it pre-order? No. A regular Joe like yourself, Darren Ripley, you need to either become a patron at the exact right moment. There's details for that over on Patreon, or you will eventually be able to get it via Mysterious. Same setup we did with the White Rabbit. Of course, it will be a bit more expensive on Mysterious, so the fastest and cheapest way to get it is via the offer on Patreon. Links to Patreon in the description below. Apparently, we broke Martin.
When?
Don't know. All right, back to the...
Wendy J said of the storyboard post, would love to see a calm before the storm in the beginning. We've never seen Alice's life before the fire, so it would be interesting thing to explore. In direct opposition there to Nicholas Knockel's comment.
Yeah, well, that's where we're going with it, Wendy J. We are going to go and see Alice's life before the fire.
AJ Bruner likes the idea of exploring the house. Could this be like a free look explore situation? Probably.
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly.
Even whilst being railroaded to the next section.
I don't know that we're going to make it fully on rails. I would feel a little frustrated by that. But if you recall, at the start of Madness Returns, she was able to walk around in a free form inside the orphanage. And that was after the session with Bumby. And so I'd like to recreate something like that. Of course, she also was able to walk around on the streets of London, and I thought that was really cool as well. So, yeah we're going to go in that similar direction.
Greg says the slower build-up, the more tension ratchets up. My favorite part of just about any zombie film is the time before the zombies show up. You know disaster is imminent, and that just adds another sense of horror as the audience slips towards unavoidable calamity.
Yeah, that's right on. And that was one of the reasons why when I first saw this storyboard of do you want to build a horrible skull-filled melting snowman, I thought this happens all way too fast. They go from, the snow's falling, the house is happy and nice, and hey, let's build a snowman, to, eat your broccoli. It all happens way too fast. So I'd like it if we slowed it down and we didn't see eat your broccoli Skullman until much later in the experience.
Nigel Manser said this, I believe, before E3, so a little bit of premonition. Keanu Reeves' dad, Lamau. Would actually be interesting to see Keanu play the role of Alice's father. With facial capture and scan technology we have, it's definitely possible. Well, as you all saw in the Cyberpunk 2077 trailer, it is definitely possible. Ava Marie loves the idea of the first stage being in stealth mode because Alice still not being able to fight yet. Like the idea of the monsters too. Want the beginning to be Alice exploring the mansion and having a little family time before the spooky goes down.
That's right.
It says, likes the drawings of Alice, but yes, she looks a little dopey. But I think that fits in with the beginning at least. Like she's chill that nothing has happened yet.
That sounds about right.
Sounds about right, Eva Marie. Chaussette says, I love the mouth monster. Maybe it could have a rotten tongue that tries to lick and grab stuff.
What is the mouth monster?
Alex's image.
You mean the shock manifest monster?
Yes.
It does have a name. If you just go around calling it the mouth monster.
Come on, what else could it have been?
It could have been the stomach monster. I mean, the mouth, the teeth are in the stomach, so why not call it the stomach monster?
Well,
I mean, if you're going to do that, just call it the monster. I mean, it doesn't even need, you just make a sound, the mouth monster.
There you go, Chaussette. Get it right. Use the right name. The mouth monster is fine.
It is.
It could be vomiting some nasty goo. I agree with the game not starting 100% action horror. And they do need to start by giving the audience a feeling that something bad is about to happen. Yep. So if we scroll down a tad on this, we can go to just a few comments about the Cheshire Plush. We've probably just talked about this anyway.
Right.
Let's just have a look. Brandy Cavazos does not like...
I think you just made that up, that pronunciation.
How would you say it? Cavazol. Cavazol.
Okay. Oh, now you're just being silly.
Seriously, what would you say?
I don't know. I'm not even going to attempt it. I think you're brave and
mispronouncing names is one of my favorite parts.
You're brave and stunning for even attempting it.
Am I breathtaking?
Yes, you're breathtaking for just even trying.
Anyway, Brandy says does not like the stitching across the chest. It is similar to the rabbit, which it is, I guess. Can you have more tattoos on the chest instead of stitching? The tail looks better, but feel it needs to be evenly spaced across the tail to show the joints. I guess rather than having them all at the end. I don't know, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think we could go back and ask for these kinds of changes. One of the things that's difficult is her comments are specific, and I think in some context they make sense, but at the same time it's not like we've got 1,000 patrons saying the same thing. So it's really difficult to take guidance when it's one voice and we're only hearing it one time. And I also don't know, like, if we were to put up a poll and say, hey, everybody vote on this, should we have more tattoos on the chest? There'd probably be an answer like, yeah, more tattoos is better than not, right? But then we also come up across the question of that's going to increase the time to get it done. It's going to increase the cost. And we haven't really talked about that very much. But every time we make changes, we do have to think about, are we doing things that keep this in line with, the audience's expectation for the price point? I think a lot of people don't want to see this thing sort of get up into the $50+ range on the initial offering on Patreon. Well, one of the ways we avoid that, hey, tattoos cost money, yo. I mean, every time I go and get tattoos, they're not cheap. So the same is true with this little guy. When we start to add more complex designs to his tattooing, it does increase the cost of manufacturing. And when you're talking about manufacturing thousands of these, makes a big difference.
All right.
Something to think about.
It is. And next comment, in stark contrast, Sean W. Smith says, I love the stitching across the chest. The cat is very emaciated. Its rib cage sticks out prominently.
I like the stitching across the ribs. Actually, I think for me, it was always a question of the rabbit. Why did the rabbit have these sort of six-pack ribs? I think we originally thought maybe it was because he'd been chopped up, sewn back together. But for the cat, it does make sense because he does have emaciated ribs showing. For the rabbit was where I always thought it was a bit bizarre, but we didn't change it on the rabbit either. Who knows?
Yeah. Adriana Watson. I really like the pink nose and pink mouth. It gives a small pop of color and keeps it cute. I guess they mean prototype 1. Probably, because that one does pop more.
I see. In terms of the color variation. I'm squeezing your head. Oh.
And Alice James agreeing. I think the red nose and red gums from the first prototype look better and are closer to the game. Are they?
I don't know.
In the game?
I have to be honest with you. When I look at these two things side by side, and I've had them in my office with me for a while now, I actually prefer this. It's a little more natural, muted. This looks kind of funny. Like, why is his nose red? Is his nose... I can understand why he might have bloody gums, but did someone chop off his... I mean, maybe they did chop off his nose. That's why his face is so flat.
Did we miss a super chat, or is Connor just talking about tailors?
There's no super chats that we've missed.
Go further.
Oh boy, go further.
See, we did. Go even further, just to check.
Go further. Go back in
push
time.
the envelope.
We're going back in time to... No, that's Priscilla talking about it.
One?
We did that.
Okay.
Trust me. And they've been going on and on and on and on about jacket design ever since. It's been pretty incredible.
Okay, here we go. Connor Carbon, thank you for the missed super chat. I think the biggest issue with game intros and tutorials is always holding, or contrived tutorials. Optional rooms for tutorials would work well.
Well, this is what I really liked about the start of Crouton and the Adventures of Boy. It was really natural. It didn't feel like you were in a tutorial space at the start of the game. You just sort of naturally picked up the controls for movement. And in a way, it was like there really wasn't much to do there. You hadn't been told anything exposition-wise as to who you were, why you were where you were. That is what I think oftentimes feels contrived, is when a game designer goes out of their way they feel it's necessary to explain the reason for being. And I think that gets in the way sometimes of the kind of mood building and the set, kind of building that I think Connor wants, what I want. So yeah, contrived, I think usually comes out of heavy-handed, overdoing,
right,
trying to force feed stuff too quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think as long as it fits and it's not obviously that you're in a tutorial. I mean, if it's sort of like you're in the garden and then, somebody's calling you to come in for supper, it makes sense to walk into the house. You've now learned how to walk.
Exactly.
And if you're in the house and you need to, if they say, oh, can you just bring us the plates over? And you go over, and now you press X to interact with something.
Right.
I think this is fine. If it fits, it flows. You learn as you're seeing story.
Sure.
I think that's all right. Where are we? Taylor Goen. Thank you for the super chat. Likes the stitching. It ties them as a set. I guess it does.
It does link the two together.
The two.
That's true. The rabbit
Stitch
and
buddies.
the cat.
They've both been hitting the gym with their 6-packs.
There you go.
And Ava Marie is back with some knock. Thank you. We always love some knock. I like the stitching on its belly. I think having tattoos on there would be a little overwhelming.
He's got lots of tattoos.
Plenty of tats.
I mean, really, he's just tatted
like he's been in
all
prison.
over the place. He's got tons of tats everywhere. So, yeah, I think it's more than enough tattoos.
Should we ask them to put an X on the butt?
No.
No?
That would be funny, though, wouldn't it?
Would. Right. Are we up to date?
We are up to date, and it's about time for a contest. And I think we should also run away because our stream is trying to die a death.
We're nearly done. I think, did I say the Alice James comment? I think
yes.
Yes. So the last one we have here, Michelle Sorge. I like the new version a lot better. I'm just wondering what happened to the color of the nose and gums, because the original prototype looked perfect.
I want to argue that this looks better. You hold that one up. I feel like if you had these in your house for a while, that red nose looks like Clown World. Honk, honk. You know that you're not allowed to say honk on Facebook anymore?
Honk.
Honk. It's gone. They've got rid of it just to prove that people are really living in Clown World. They've gotten rid of, but anyway, that red one, I think he would get banned on Facebook for being a Clown World Cheshire. That's disgusting, Martin. I think this one looks more natural. I think it doesn't need to.
Now I see more of it. I might agree.
I think this is right. These colors feel complementary, whereas that red-nosed one feels kind of gaudy. So I don't know. I think we ought to go with this. It'd be good to hear people, I guess, in the super chat for the contest we're about to run, spam whether you'd prefer, let's call this peach.
So peach or cherry?
Cherry. What do you like? Peach or
cherry?
Good thing Lulu's sleeping. She'd be over here biting us for that.
I want to go back to that honk thing. Has somebody co-opted the word honk to mean something negative?
Oh, come on. You don't know about this?
I don't.
You don't keep up on
your
memes.
I don't keep up with news and memes anymore because it just angers me. So I don't know what's happening in the world.
I mean, so Honkler is somebody co-opted Pepe the Frog. So Pepe the Frog got turned into this clown character.
Right.
And then the clown character is meant to represent the fact that, here's one of the examples that I think makes some sense in terms of what people would describe as clown world. Let's say that you are an anti-gun advocate, right? You don't like guns. You're on board with that. Let's also say that you don't like Trump. You think Trump is the literal incarnation of Hitler. Now, when you say give up your guns, who are you giving them up to? You're giving them up to the government, right? So now the argument you're making is give your guns to Hitler. This is what people will oftentimes describe as living in clown world. It's up is down, down is up. Things don't really make a lot of sense because a lot of times people seem to be arguing against logic and reason.
Right. So this is a thing. Do people not realize we've been living in clown world for like the last 10 or 15 years?
Yeah, well, so I think that this came about, as oftentimes these memes do, off of one of the Chans, 4chan, 8chan. I don't know. That part I didn't really keep up with. But so Honkler came up they came up with him. I think they were trying to co-opt the flag.
Right.
The gay pride flag. And of course they used this word honk, and now Facebook has banned people from using the word honk.
There you go.
So there you go.
Did not know that.
Welcome to...
And this is why I don't read the news or keep up to date with the nonsense that's happening in the world.
Welcome to meme school, Martin.
It's all just mental.
Oh, boy. Okay, so let's take a look at the
Peach
chat.
has clearly
Peach, man, oh man, Peach won by a massive landslide. All right, I think everybody really likes Peach. I actually don't see any...
I saw some cherry.
I don't see any cherry at all.
There was some.
But it looks like Peach has won.
Cherry gums.
Well, I'm glad we did this. Thank you, all of you out there, insane children, for helping us to decide on a Peach nose. Let's roll it. Dancy Penguin.
Dancy Penguin.
Dancy Penguin, you have won the chat contest. You're going to get your very own set of... What do you call those? Certified
Rutledge dog tag.
Certified insane Rutledge dog tags. All you need to do is send an email to mysterious@americanmcgee.com and include your name, your phone number, your mailing address, and do all that in a format which does not anger, upset, confuse, or honk myself or Fontlord, and we will then send you your very own set of Rutledge Asylum certified
and do
insane.
That within a day.
Yeah, you have a day, 24 hours. And don't ask us any funny time zone questions about that. Just get it done.
24 hours from now.
Congratulations, Dancy Penguin. I don't know if Dancy Penguin has even figured out that they've won, but is that a cute cartoony version of Loki?
It's a little Loki.
It is a little Loki. Okay, it's a low-key Loki. Ooh. I think that's about it for today.
Ooh, we
so
made it.
While we wait for Dancy Penguin to confirm that they understand that they've won, we will confirm once again we're going to go with peach as the color of the Cheshire Cat.
Are we not going to do peach nose cherry gums, as has been suggested?
Don't make it complicated. I think this looks nice. Do the gums really need to be cherry? I feel like that's maybe unnecessary. Cherry's unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
Did we get demonetized? Wendy J says we got demonetized. Is it because we were talking about Honkler in Clown World? Probably.
Does it count though if we're only explaining it?
Yes. Okay. Apparently the YouTube filter system now listens to the words we're saying, and were we to say like the thing we've just said, it will automatically demonetize us. So it'll actually be an interesting experiment. We can come back next week and see whether or not we were automatically demonetized for...
Will they explain why it was demonetized? Maybe it was because we talked about Lulu farts.
No, I'm not sure. But Yeah, we'll see. But anyway, that was my meme school. I was in no way, I'd like to be clear, I'm in no way advocating or supporting wrongthink. I would never, ever suggest that you should think anything wrong. You should always think what your corporate YouTube, Google overlords say you should think. And of course, you should always do what Mark Zuckerberg says you should do on Facebook and Instagram. Never do anything that would upset any of them. I would never, ever advocate for any sort of disobedience like that at all. So please understand that that was a purely educational overview of the origin of and meaning of honkler, honk world, and all that kind of stuff that gets us immediately demonetized because we are, in fact, living in clown world. I don't think that Dancy Penguin realizes that they won.
We didn't. Should we give them 30 more seconds?
I think we just roll it again. No? 3, 2, 1. Hannah Michelle.
Hannah Michelle.
All right, Hannah.
Instead.
We were giving the prize to you because the other person did not respond. So I think Hannah's maybe won something in the past.
Not in the last few. Possibly in the past.
All right. Well, Hannah, we're giving you the Asylum certified insane tag so you know how to do the thing because she's often in the chat. Please do make sure to send an email to mysterious@americanmcgee.com and include your mailing address, phone number, name, the fact that you've won. Don't do it in a way that causes any sort of upset, and then also be sure to do that within the next 24 hours. Woo! Oof. Got a lot of practice with that. That does bring us to the end of today's live stream. There are a bunch of things you can do to help support the work that we're doing here on Alice Asylum and our other projects.
Somewhere on there.
I don't know. You could go over and follow me on Instagram. Look, there's a picture of Lulu with my shirt on her head. That's a good one. So yeah, you could follow me on Instagram. Where is it? Oh, here we go.
There it is.
AmericanMcGee.com. Scroll down the page. Sign up for the mailing list. Don't use your dead grandma as the person that you put into the list. Only living, breathing, interested Alice fans, please. Yeah, there's social media. All of our corporate overlord platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And then, of course, you can go over to Patreon. And the next big prize we're going to offer up is this Cheshire Cat.
It is. That's the next goal.
Yeah. And, of course, you get art prints. And the next art print, don't cause confusion, Martin. The next art print is this latest thing by Omri. What is it? Perfectly Unbalanced.
Perfectly Unbalanced.
Perfectly Unbalanced. That'll be the next art print we're sending out if you want that. That's one way to get it.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, what is it? Oh, we've got a shop called Mysterious, and you could go buy your very own Alice Bloody Apron shirt thing or a wallet.
Amongst many other things.
We sell skulls there. Did you know that? We sell a lot of skulls, actually. I always wonder if like this random skull factory in the middle of China somewhere is always like sitting there going, why are we sending so many skulls to this one guy? Anyway, that's about it.
It is. Do the things. Click, subscribe, follow, like.
Jib it up.
Get bent, dab. Do the things.
You all know the things. Well, thank you very much, all of you, for joining us today. It's always a pleasure. Be sure to tune in again next week. Insane Children, we will have another crowd design session over on Discord. Yeah.
Do those on Tuesdays. Tuesdays our time.
You're all very much loved. I hope wherever you are in the world, the sun shines upon you and your gums don't bleed like the Cheshire Cat.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, yeah, take it easy, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.